Last week, I had a strange realization about the story of the Buddha and how it connects to things I spoke about earlier about shadow work and how stories can teach us about our own shadow and about our own journey. And I wanted to discuss this example in a video to connect to the stuff that I said earlier. Um, and I thought it was a very interesting concept. So, the story of the Buddha, at least the start of the story, describes how a very wealthy and rich prince lives a secluded life where he's basically being protected by anything harmful and destructive or decaying. So you can imagine someone who's extremely rich always gets the best food, doesn't have to lift a single finger, doesn't really know what work is, um, doesn't have to worry about death, illness, or pain or suffering, these kind of things. What happens is that one day the Buddha goes out. Actually, in the story, he goes out, I think 3 or 4 times. Yeah, it speaks about the 4 sites. So 4 times that the Buddha is going out outside of the city or the castle walls into the city, where he sees basically sickness. He sees a person who is sick, and he's completely shocked by it. He has to ask his subordinates to explain to him what this is, sickness. A similar thing happens with age. So he sees a person who is very old, and finally he also sees a person who has died. These sightings open up the unconscious gates that after that cannot be closed anymore, and they start a journey for him, which in the end creates a situation in which he becomes enlightened and becomes the Buddha. And it made me think a lot about at least Western society that we live in right now. I think most people that live in Western society actually live exactly the myth of the Buddha in the starting form, where at least when you are young, you are not confronted so much with suffering. A lot of things are taken care for you. We live a very comfortable life. There are a lot of comforts and things around us. There's a lot of wealth. Our parents take care of us. They also have the means to do so. So there's very limited amount of suffering. And specifically, something that I've realized is the healthcare. So we live in a society where health seems something completely creatable almost. If you have enough money, if you have a good doctor, if you have the right supplements and do the right exercises, you should be able to control health. I think what the story of the Buddha teaches us is that that is just simply not true. You cannot be infinitely healthy. You cannot be immortal. Age, death, and sickness is going to enter your life at a certain point, if it hasn't already. And that's just something that we have to learn to deal with. That's a fact of life. And I think we are currently in this unconscious state in the West where we think that, oh no, we can actually cheat age if we just do all these things. And there's also a lot of the cosmetic industry is built around reducing or reversing the effects of age. And we get completely upset if a doctor cannot help us with our health issues. We say it's a bad doctor, or we curse at the healthcare system. But in fact, I think it's just a reality of existence that we can get sick and old. And I was thinking about that. I want to be corrected if you think that this is not true and how you experience it yourself, and what that would also mean for us if we want to learn from the story of the Buddha. So what he eventually did was get out of his environment where everything is done for him, and where he tries to, or where people are actually trying for him never to experience death and decay. And he goes out in the world and experiences it more. In the end, he becomes enlightened. So what does it have to say for us people live in the West? How can we go out into the world more? And to which degree and in which fashion should we experience death and decay more? Should we just simply try to not make these things, so to speak, but simply accept the way that they come? It's a difficult discussion because to a certain extent, we can do a lot of things about it as well. And you should also avoid unnecessary suffering. So I'm very curious what you guys think about it. I thought it was a very interesting realization. And yeah, I thought it was a nice example as well to show how your unconscious mind and the shadows that you might struggle with, or the shadow that a society might struggle with, can be already expressed in a certain way in stories. And yeah, now it's up to us to decide how we can use this story to figure out our next steps, what we should do and what we can learn from it. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, please give it a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and don't forget to have a great day.